right, today is Tuesday the 17th of April, and I want to go through a few charts with you. Today was a big up day. If you recall, today was just really up nicely, taking out a few days ago high. But what we've noticed here, and we drew this a few weeks ago, remember we always want to know where the fib levels are on the bigger movement. So what I decided to do, and I've been showing this to you for months since the low of the year at the end of at the very beginning of the year, right? The low of the year was way down in here. So as the market's coming down off of highs, you want to continually draw your levels, right? The 38.2, the 50, and the 60% retracements, right? So if you look over at the 38, look at where the market dropped to last week. I pointed this out to you last week as well. And I also pointed out the 5% pullback from the high, right? The 5% pullback from the high gave you a price of $13.46 and 3/4. Okay, the market dropped down to $13.52, right? This low is $13.52.5 before bouncing up. So not only did we drop between the 5% and the 38.2% retracement of this big upswing, and we've held there nicely, even at the 50-day exponential right in there. And if you recall Thursday we had a nice trade up through this inside bar here, which gave us our profit objectives on the day of entry. Okay, today we've actually taken out that high, and it looks like we probably will continue going higher. My first objective would be, let's see, the market today's high is 88 3/4. We took out that high of 86 1/4, took it out by 2.5 points. My first objective on the way back up would be at least halfway back up from the high to where it dropped down to, and we actually hit that over here. So we've met that first objective. My next logical objective would be the 61.8% from high to this drop pullback, which would be, the next level would be 1393 3/4 to the upside. Now, if we look back at another chart here on even the bigger time frames, you show over here on the weekly chart dropped back into beautiful support between these two moving averages, and we've moved higher. We have actually taken out last week's high, which is a positive sign on the weeklies. Okay, on the daily, we pretty much held at the 50 exponential moving average, right? This pullback represents, again, the 38.2% retracement of the yearly's low to high, right? And almost the 5% pullback in the overall market. Okay. Now if we go back here and look at the Dow, okay, look at the Dow. Nice big up move to the upside. In the Nasdaq, big reversal day, right? The Nasdaq chart, futures chart, looks actually different than the YM and the ES, right? That was a pretty much straight shot down, held beautifully at that 50 bar. You really need to start looking at the 50 bar exponential and the 200 bar exponential on the bigger time frames, dailies, weeklies. Heck, even on an intraday chart, they act as really good support and resistance when in a downtrend. So being aware of those numbers are big. But look at the Nasdaq on the daily here. Okay, we took out the low of the day first, right? We took out yesterday's low, and then we completely reversed and took out the high of yesterday. I call that an OVB, stands for outside vertical bar. It's an outside day, right? And it's an engulfing pattern for those candlestick enthusiasts, right? And we closed in the top quarter, so that's very bullish for the Nasdaq to continue moving higher. Now if we look at Apple looks like we had a capitulation day. Opened up in Apple this morning down here, made a low first thing in the morning, and rallied up big time. I mean, you're talking from low to high almost 40 points to the upside, which is very bullish. So tomorrow I would like to see if we can actually penetrate up through yesterday's high, right? If we're able to take out 610.28 tomorrow, we went up to 610 today. then I would expect the market to continue moving higher to possibly 624 tomorrow as well. So tomorrow what I would be looking at in Apple is if the market is able to gap down lower, okay, I would be looking to buy it on any weakness, looking for the market to come back up and retest the 610 area. Okay, I would look for that same scenario if it happens on any of the index futures, either the E-Mini S&P 500, the Dow, or the Nasdaq. If we open up lower tomorrow, but within a reasonable fib level of the day's range from low to high, I would be looking to buy, looking for the market to come back to try to retest today's high. Because we had significant moves in all of these markets, right? And we closed near the highs of the day, right? So if we open up lower, at least the 50% from the low to the high of today's range in either the E-Mini S&P 500, the Dow, or the Nasdaq, I would be looking to be a buyer, looking for the resumption back up towards the high of the day. Again, on either of any of these markets. Probably even more so on the Nasdaq because today was an engulfing pattern, right? Took out the low and the high of the prior day, closing in the top quarter, very bullish. Again, if the market opens up lower, and again, this is short-term trade, opens up lower at or above the 50% of the range, right, from high to low, I'd be buying, looking for the bounce back up to try to retest that high, minimum. That would be a trade setup. So I'm going to try to get a video out tomorrow morning as the market opens to show you this in action if we're able to get that type of setup. All right, so that's what I'd be looking for tomorrow, short-term basis. Today's low in the Nasdaq, right, the low of 2654, if that's taken out in the next couple days, if that's taken out within either tomorrow or Thursday, then I would expect the market to sell off big time. If we take out today's low of 2654 in the Nasdaq market, okay? Again, and I'm not talking about the Dow or the E-Minis, but the Nasdaq because of how today's set up in terms of price action. All right? So let's go quickly to this was today's E-Mini S&Ps. Really the only good trade we had today was first thing in the morning when the market pulled back between the blue action zone at the daily R1 number. It was a nice trade. Another nice trade was as the market took out the high of the day after creating this little range. Beautiful. All right trades in here, but very minor pullbacks. Tomorrow, again, I'm going to get a video out as the market's opening to show you in the Nasdaq YM and the E-Minis to see what happens, to give you some potential plays for tomorrow. So hope that helps. If you got any questions, let me know. Have a phenomenal evening. Bye for now.